Let me ask a question real quick. Does anyone remember Whoa Vicky? Like, I remember hearing a story about her several years ago where she faked her own kidnapping and then came out with it pretty quickly that it was a sham. And her plan really fell apart quite quickly. And when she was explaining why she did it, she said simply because I was bored. Now, that is not a good reason at all, and I struggle to think how anyone would ever think that was a good idea, considering that people were actually worried about you. So I just think it's a little strange. And in the past, like, a decade or so, because let's not forget the massive story that was Sherry Papini's 2016 fake kidnapping story, except those two reasons are very, very different from one another. Whoa, Vicky did it because she was bored. Sherry Papini did it because I think she just felt like trapped in her relationship and she had an ex-boyfriend that she could go hang out with, so she ditched her family to go hang out with him and then blamed two random Latina women that supposedly beat her ass and kidnapped her or whatever. So those are two completely different reasons for doing it. Both are extremely bad, but the reason why I'm talking about those two incidents today is because they correlate in some way. Not exactly like together, but they correlate to the topic that I'm talking about today, which is because an evil mother, I'd say, a mother now, because it was a while ago that she did this, a year, I believe it was, when it actually happened at first, but now things are getting legal in terms of the punishment that's come from this saga. So, an evil mother from Brazil apparently faked her kidnapping and her husband's kidnapping, and it really, really went off the rails. She was an influencer, and I really don't know how many followers or subscribers you have to be counted as an influencer, so I'm using that term a little loose here, but let's just call her an influencer, yeah? So she kidnapped herself and her husband. She hired 3 dudes to help her carry out the kidnapping. And according to the husband, he had no idea this is what she had planned. In fact, he was just an innocent bystander, and he thought he was actually getting kidnapped because those 3 dudes that kidnapped them took them out to the woods and held them for ransom money. Now, that is a very, very scary thing. No one wants to get kidnapped, and as far as I know, in the United States, or at least I think in California, like, I believe the max you get for kidnapping is 15 years in prison. If I think that's correct. I'm not really sure. I think it's something close to that. But yeah, it's not taken lightly. It's very, very, very serious. And of course, we had the whole Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case that's super big right now. And it's just, it's a little sad to see that all of this has come, you know? Faking your own kidnapping is just not cool. But the reason why she did it was obviously for clout. She wanted to get more followers and more attention, and she thought that doing this would be a good way to do it. Now, this woman right here is the perpetrator of this tall tale, which her name is Monica Fraga. She is the perpetrator, like I said before, and she's just entirely responsible for this entire mess, and she paid the kidnappers of her and her husband to kidnap them and make it look real and believable, because she said that the 3 armed suspects who came up on them outside their house attacked her husband. So if they actually attacked him, like really put the hurt on him, that is 1, evil, it is 2, illegal, and 3, that's just gross, dude. I don't understand why you'd pay someone to actually beat the crap out of your husband. Now, attacked can mean several different things. No one really knows if he was actually physically hurt or not. I would assume yes, he was, because they needed to make it look believable. And the only way to make it look believable is by actually beating some ass. So I would assume yes, that they did actually put the hurt on this poor dude. And then they just took them both hostage, and that was that. And, you know, this is just, it's so strange, dude. Because she was doing this as a cry for attention. She wanted those extra followers and all of that, and instead of doing it the natural way, she decided to try and cheat the system by doing something as outlandish as this. And this is really nothing new in terms of the broad spectrum of creators doing some wild, outlandish stuff to get attention or followers or clout. I mean, most creators who do this, they live for that. They live to be annoying. They live to cause as much trouble and be the biggest piece of shit possible so that they can entertain the people so that they'll keep watching. People like Jack Doherty do that. Johnny Somali, Natalie Reynolds, they do that. They are some of those people that will just annoy and berate and just do whatever it takes to keep that audience because they're not interesting otherwise. Now, I don't know anything about this lady. I don't know her Instagram or whatnot. I don't know what kind of content she does. They say she's an influencer. I don't know what kind of influencer she could be. I'm assuming maybe a fashion influencer based on some of the photos I've seen of her. You know, she's trying to look all hot and sexy for like the camera or whatever. So I'm assuming a fashion influencer or something like that. It never really explicitly states what kind of influencer she is, so that's pretty vague. But yeah, all of this is just twisted, dude. It's evil. And I really don't know how you could come up with this specific idea. This is very outlandish. This is probably got to be your last resort. The bills must have been due in a day because, brother, this has got to be your last card to play. There's got to be other options out there that will help boost your credibility and your channel or you know, your Instagram page or whatever. There has to be other ways that are not illegal or dangerous like this. So I'm finding it hard to understand why she would think to do this in the first place at all. I said before that there were 3 perpetrators involved with the fake kidnapping of the influencer and her husband, and it's been said that one of the alleged kidnappers were in cahoots with the influencer. It's obvious that they worked together, but the other 3, I don't know where they came from. I'm assuming that they're just like friends of the original guy, and they were like, oh, you know, if you come with me, then we can get like a cut of the money, and we'll split it 3 ways or something, which that's a pretty good plan, I'd say, if you're gonna do this, which I don't think you should. I don't think it's a good idea at all. And yeah, nothing good came from this at all. And it turns out that the 3 guys who were involved, get this, one is in prison, another one is 6 feet in the ground, dead and gone, and the third had his house searched. So 2 of them are still alive, one is incarcerated, so yeah, technically that means there's only 1 left on the outside, and that was the actual person that they worked with. The other 2 were just the goons that happened to be with him at the time. So yeah, it really didn't end well for any of these guys, especially now that the one that's not in prison is probably going to go to prison, because this is a very serious crime. Again, like, even though it was all fake, kidnapping is a very serious crime, not to be taken lightly by anybody. But it's just, it's strange how people think, you know, think they can get away with it at all. Because more than likely, they think they get the advantage in the ransom game, especially if they take somebody important, like the Nancy Guthrie, or I think that's her name. They think they have the upper hand, in which I don't know if there's been any ransom towards that, but that's not what we're talking about. Sorry for getting off topic there. But yeah, no, it's just strange how some people think that this was actually a good idea. How she genuinely thought in her mind, yes, let's do this. I have an amazing plan. Let's do it. I really don't see how that's possible. But hey, weird things have happened, and now things are getting a little tricky because now that she's officially being legally charged, things are getting a little weird because she's got young children. If I remember reading correctly, I believe it said they had a 4-month-old child, or multiple children that are young. So this is very scary for them, knowing that their mom is not a very good person. And I feel like the husband in all of this, if it's true that he was not involved and was just an innocent bystander, should definitely get full custody of their children. Status immediately. Because there's no way anyone would feel safe with her, or a judge with an ounce of sanity would allow them to stay with her. It's just not logical. And the thing is, now that she's being charged, they want her on house arrest instead of actual prison. Or at least they want her at home instead of in jail for the time being until her actual sentencing comes. But I just think that's preposterous, dude. You shouldn't be able to get special treatment for house arrest because of this, because she has young children. Like, there's a father for a reason. He's there, he's going to take care of them. So I think that's just gone right out the window for you. I think she really needs to go to prison for this, because this is evil. This is sad, really. Kidnapping is a very serious crime. It's not to be taken lightly under any circumstances. So doing this and thinking it's a good idea, not cool. really not cool, especially if they really actually hurt her husband, which that's even less cool because somebody actually got hurt from all this. Like, it wasn't just pretend acting or whatever. If somebody actually got hurt, that's on her, and whoever did the hurting. They're co-conspirators, so I'm sure the law will figure this one out. But if you've stayed this long, thank you for listening, and I will catch you in the next one.